raise it high up the ladder. Let we set it on fire. A little more calypso, forget the funk and the disco.
Good evening once again and welcome to another episode of Oui Culture. And first let me apologize for the late start. I was having a little technical difficulty in my end here, but it's all rectified now. The team is here and we are ready to go. So we welcome our viewers on GBN Television 711, our friends on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, and of course our listeners on K105 FM. Tonight we're looking back at the just concluded Intercall games. Doc is here, Reece is here. Doc, Reece, good evening. Welcome, it's a pleasure.
Hey, good evening to my colleagues, and good evening to all the listeners on the various medium of Oui Culture and GBN. Tonight we are going down a path, fully full of joy. It's unfortunate that our protagonist, one antagonist, is not on the panel tonight. As there are several things I think we would like to trash out with him. But unfortunately, he's not here, but yet the program rolls.
Definitely. Reece, why you know you're looking tired, so what happened to you? You just come out in the call?
I am tired and I am sick. And the mawet that you all intend to have tonight, I think King did the best by just, not being present for that. But you know what? I will give you all the opportunity to make mawet.
What mawet? Nobody plan to make the mawet?
Show about, yeah, I know what I'm saying, and you know what I'm saying. This is going to be a show about Tivoli again, and SAS again, and
oh gosh.
I'm going to just allow you all to just have a time.
So can they kill us?
I don't.
It has nothing to do with that. Remember what I said? The mawet.
What mawet?
King could defend anything on this show. And both of you know, that he always wins. Always wins. Right? So it's not that he cannot take it. And I'm just going to open the floor. Right? And say that, like year before, SAS has to say thank you to St. Patrick's. And even more so this year, they have to say thank you to St. Patrick's. So in honor of King and in honor of all the people of St. Patrick's, let them know their worth, let them know their value. Don't be too big to accept that. And to give kudos where it's due. I rest my case. Make mawet.
You know, Doc, well, I'm hearing that kind of thing from her too. But I asked the question last time and I'm a little confused and I really don't understand it. While I have no issues with the athletes from St. Patrick's and all of that and their ability, but I asked myself the question, why they leave McDonald College and choose us? That confuses me. I ain't get it. Reece, you could help me?
You guys are the expert on the whys.
No, I'm just asking. I'm just asking.
I know that you're just asking, and I'm just answering. And my answer is, you guys are the experts on the why. Maybe since, it's in your domain and you are continuously seeing that influx of talent from St. Patrick's attending school in St. Andrew, right? The popular school in St. Andrew. Maybe it would be in your best interest to see what is it that is causing that, to see how, again, in your best interest, you can hold on to that. Because in your best interest, if you don't hold on to that, it will not be in your best interest. I hope I'm clear.
You know, well, everybody know I love Kaiso, but listening to her, it just remind me of a calypso the late Dr. Leroy Kelly sang in 1979 when he won the Calypso Monarch called the Caribbean Man. He was questioning, you know, politicians and why is it that they couldn't get it right. And he was saying, the question or the comment he made is that while the Rastafari movement was spreading, CARICOM was dying slow. And he went on to say, it is something the Rastas done that the politicians don't know. I rest my case. Doc, anyway, before we, let's keep, I have a question. I have a question.
And we know what was being briefcase.
I have a question. What has been briefcase? Not more than fraud.
You know.
Reece, what is saying? What is saying is
that your rest there, like I said, it sounds like a briefcase, and you just tell me what has been briefcase.
Reece,
so, you know
Reece,
listen, I'm clear. I'm clear.
Anyway, we'll come back to that. But I have a question to ask all you, in keeping with rephrase and so. There are two words that I want you to explain to me. I want to know the difference. You know, there's the phrase scratch out and shake out. What is the difference between scratch out and shake out?
Let me see get a go.
Yeah, because
you see you mute. You see you mute.
She can't even hear.
I was saying that you don't get to do that. You don't get to do that.
To do
firstly.
what? To do what?
And second, to tell me, let me have a go.
Doc.
While you at it, don't just discuss scratch out and what was the other one?
Shake out.
Shake out. Discuss no go. Like do scratch. Right? Discuss that.
Wait, Doc. Reece, I can ask you a question. Nala home?
Yes, Nala is at home.
Tell Nala to come, please. I need to talk to Nala because
Nala, come. They need to ask you a question. Come and answer whatever question you want to ask.
Well, I don't understand.
And remember, you're a product of your mother. You are sharp.
Nala, good night.
Okay.
Did you fret your mother today? Did you fret your mother? You do your mother something? She can't fetch. The way she get on today, I don't know if somebody fret her, so I want to find out from you if you have been a nice girl today or not or naughty.
Nala, they can't hear you. Speak up. Speak up like a girl from the Anglican high school.
No, I was asking you if you annoyed your mommy today.
Did you annoy me today? No.
Well then, I know. Anyway,
do you have any question for them? No? You don't want to ask them why is it that they are choosing violence tonight? I have to ask them why they're choosing violence?
Yeah.
Look at the puzzle, look at the child face. Look at you. Look what you doing the child.
Anyway, tell me the difference. So, Reece, we're going to start with you. What is the difference between scratch out and shake out?
Scratch out is... I still don't want to comply because I'm not taking part in that mawet.
Well, what mawet?
Scratch out is when Cornell Pierre give them performance. Yeah? And what's the other one? I still not paying attention.
Shake out.
Shake out was when Cache show them performance. Yes. As a first timer in that category.
Well, I'll tell you this before I get from Doc. You're only as good as your last performance. So, Doc.
True.
Doc.
True. Right?
Doc, what is it about this shake out?
And that is why we're waiting to see what your next performance is going to be. Because you're good at your last performance. Let's hope you can maintain. Yeah? Because right now, you ain't nothing upon nobody, eh? When it comes to the boys' school, right? And even that celebration of first time we ever had winning the girls and boys, right? That is not a comparison. And if we want to make that comparison, let us talk about how many times the great Grenada Boys Secondary School and the Anglican High School won on the same year. Let's talk about that. It's not something you could compare with. The only thing you all could compare with that is St. David's Catholic Secondary School. They're the ones that have boys and girls like you, right? But if you want to look at it, boys section, girls section, the girls and boys from the canteen have won together several times. Several times. Y'all get a one this time and all get nerves if like, oh my God, like whatever. I tell all you, I'm not up for my way tonight. Eh? Good night, Miss Yolan in Simone, and good night to Suzanne in Paradise. Yeah. I know that you guys are very much strong SAS supporters, but I know that y'all are smart enough and y'all could analyze and y'all could put things into perspective and all of that. So I'm not going to bother with the Mawetas tonight. They just come and they can win again this year, which I don't know if they're winning next year, and they just feel like they're kings. Y'all need to be consistent. Y'all won in 24. You should have won in 25 and win in 26, so you'd have had the most wins. But right now you've equated. You don't have the most wins.
Reece, hold on. You're going on too much now. You go down too much now. Let me. I need to come. Yeah.
Against one tonight.
No. You go down too much.
Yeah?
You go down too much now. Hold on. Let me. You're talking about. Anyway, before I even respond to you, Doc, let me talk about shake out that scratch out. What did you ever do shake out that scratch out? Doc, why did you ever do shake out that scratch out?
Well, we say try to beat me to it, but I mean, shake out is like what Sal's did.
Shake out.
You think I didn't know that's what you're about? Why all you didn't shake out and scratch out on Ian George? Why all you didn't shake out and scratch out on Ian George? Why?
We shake out being in the
orange. Is it orange?
We almost equalize on the line.
What you talking about? Almost equalize? There's no such thing. Almost equalize. What the hell do you mean this is? Apocalypto? Almost? Is that how you win or you don't win? Almost equalize. And did you hear his interview? Did you hear when he was speaking to his coach? He said, I looked up at the screen and I got a bit distracted. Otherwise, it was cheese and bread in the stadium. It was scratch out and shake out in the stadium.
Oh God, Doc, yeah, go ahead, Doc.
I'm gonna answer the question already. I don't want to say everything.
Shake out that scratch out.
I don't know if there is any major differentiation. I cannot figure that. Was basically shake out general attribute to when something scare you, and you're in a certain place, and you just all of a sudden you at top speed. So basically shake out.
But I find I scratch out.
Yeah, but I don't know if I can't see how I would differentiate the both terms. That to me they have the same kind of connotation. You shake out because you walk into the place, there's a bush, you hear the song and you shake out or you scratch out. I mean, I find it both interchangeable.
Well, I mean, for me, I find scratch out have a little more almost speed with it.
Oh, okay.
Shake out, I mean, while they both mean to move quickly, so to speak in proper English. When you scratch out, like you go by a man and you pull the blade, you scratch out. but I mean, real fast, But I think shake out is probably just a little notch below that. I mean, that is how I.
You could be right. Yeah. Scratch out generally, there is more fear.
Yeah, I find so.
Yeah, more fear. That means you're frightened. So you scratch out. Shake out, it could be a deliberate act where you move fast, but maybe there is not. I guess the grade is slightly different.
Yeah, you're going guava and they start to get on and you have to scratch out. Yeah, kind of think so. Hey, you see? Yeah, the scratch out. The amount of man I said they scratch out from Guam already. What did they? Anyway.
As they should. As they should.
Anyway, let me come back to you now. When all this rant and review was getting on with you. May I ask you, Reece, which secondary school won the intercall games on the most consecutive occasion? You're muted.
You're asking which secondary school won
Yeah.
the most consecutive occasion?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't really care about that. What I care
I
about
kinda figure.
is which one won the most. And you can't say that. That's what I care about.
Which one won the
I
most?
mean, we can't say that, Reece.
On the boys section, you've equated.
No, SAS
you know?
is 22-21 now.
To who?
SAS is 22.
Listen, that's not true. Whatever it is, it's equated.
Equated meaning
Last
what?
year it was equated, but this year SAS is
No.
22. GBS
No.
is 21.
Last year it was not equated. And I'm sticking to my story.
Where she get that kind of information, Doc?
No
If you
matter
tell me.
who all you get to call in to say whatever, I'm sticking to my story.
Doc, where she get that kind of information?
I know. The SAS girls has won 4 times and the boys 22 times.
But of course,
You stick to your story and I'll stick to mine.
Well, it's not my story. What it is, is what it is.
Reece, let me tell you something. SAS, in terms of records and history making in intercall, SAS has done it. I mean, that's a given. That is a given. You know what I mean? So, I know
How long we doing the program for tonight?
what happened to you.
How long y'all intend to make Mawet tonight?
But you, that's how you think.
Tivoli Mawet, how long?
Let me start.
Y'all doing another hour?
Anyway, Doc,
Doing another hour?
Doc, you're right. Let me get going. Let's get your perspective on the just concluding intercall games.
And more.
Yeah.
I mean, intercall is the ultimate sporting activity in Grenada. I mean, I think that is emits more passion than any other sporting activity. And for matter of fact, I think the only thing that comes close to intercall is the election. In terms of the number of passion and the number of persons that actually intimately involved with what is taking place. Who win, who lose in Soca Monarch may become a factor, I would say. But intercall is right there, maybe just after election. Godfrey, for the last, I had some statistics here that I think I would like to share. In the boys division, Westerhall has won once, Oka Secondary 4 times, McDonald College 5 times, GBS GBSS 21 times and SAS 22 times. In the girls division, I said PBC, right? PBC. So I said, okay, Westall 1, PBC 4, right, in the boys. McDonald College 5, GBSS 21, SAS 22. The girls division, Boca 1, St. Joseph Convent Grenville 1, SAS 4, St. Joseph Convent St. George 10 times, Anglican High 18 times, St. David's Catholic 19 times. This year, looking at intercall, there are some schools to me that really show up in a big way. And you must give credit to, I would say, 4 schools. The first one being Boca Secondary. I thought that Boca Secondary really showed up unlike other years. They were right there, very competitive. A long time I didn't see PBC also really showing up. And then you had the St. Joseph Convent in the girls really showing up this year, unlike a lot of years when they were just maybe just in the back. And of course, the ultimate, I would say, for me was SAS. That history is not to be taken lightly. It's a feat that has to be that is accomplished. That was accomplished. But what I found about, well, sorry, before we go into more into SAS, I just also want to point out that I found that a few schools, like schools like West Sahal Secondary, that one at one time, you're really not showing up in the way that they should. Also from that McDonald College, I find that they did not show up as well. There was a year when we had both Hillsborough and Bishop College coming, I think, third and fourth in the male division in 1 year. And I find they actually show that they fall down this year. So I thought that I feel that these schools can step up. I just wanted to make a point that this year intercall, and particularly the victory SAS, not that I want to be biased, but if I am, maybe so be. But what I found though, it reminded me of the 80s, meaning when SAS used to win. I saw a lot of teamwork. I saw the school, when they with intention. I mean, when I look at this, the Charles girl, the one that is a specialist in the triple jump and the long jump, actually going on the track and walking. Was it a 400 meter? Walking the 400 meter just to get a point. I saw that as intentional. And that is what to me would make the difference, because unlike other years, when the girls running and then sometime when they realize they wouldn't win, they just walk up the field, and they didn't go for that extra point. So I saw that as a very, very positive sign. When you see children, after the race, they took off the tag and there was something written on it, or they came with banners all prepared. I saw that. I haven't seen that in school in SAS for a very, very long time. And again, it reminds me of what it used to be in the 80s when they came down intentional. And so me, I see a breath of fresh air seeing that. There's also some very positive thing I saw among athletes. So, and before I go, I just want to mention that. So it takes a team. I always believe it takes a team, and that's what I saw happening. The team that won. And everybody you could see pull their weight, like the Leon Callis, the Nice Simon, the Che. I think there was this guy, Dylan George. It took them and plus others, administration, in order to get that done. I saw some level of camaraderie among the athletes. There was a St. David athlete, a guy that won, and he won, and I think on the side he had a GBSS and then a SAS guy, and he got everybody to sit down on the podium, and they did the whole ceremony.
Yeah, I saw that.
That was so powerful. And there was this girl, this what's her name again, from SAS, Haley Terrell. When she won, I saw that all of them, the three young ladies, they did the same thing, the hush sign and the wave. That too was really good. Although SAS and GBSS are always competing, there was one time when they went to collect the medal, and a SAS guy and a GBSS guy, they were just hugging each other on the podium. I mean, that really, what it is that it used to happen. I saw these things as being really positive, and I hope that these things transmit to, of course, the camaraderie, the oneness that would transcend and show up itself at Carifta. There were some bright moments. So I guess as the program prolonged, we would highlight some of the athletes that did extremely well. I mean, you mentioned Ian George. I thought he was an excellent athlete, and I'm happy for him because he seemed like he was in the dark for a long time. And this year he really, really showed, and he showed up nicely with really good time. It's a very good time. So, I mean, there are other athletes, I guess we would point out, but I think that, we have to look at Intercall as an excellent event. I thought the games, the commentary was on top. And The execution was relatively good. I mean, of course, there would always be room for improvement. And Carifta is around the corner. Hopefully, that we maximize on that thing, on that trust going forward.
Yeah. Actually, the camaraderie you mentioned, I think we saw signs of that early. When for the first time we had a invitational race at SAS Sports with the GBSS.
Yes.
Yeah, so
yes.
I mean, the signs were there, and I think it's an excellent move, showing that apart from the individual school sports and even at the house level in the individual sports, the big picture is right there. The whole thing of further development and so on. So that to me was really wonderful. But Reece, your
camaraderie between the athletes. You're just seeing that. You're just experiencing that. You're just experiencing the camaraderie between the athletes. I'm asking.
I'm not understanding the question though.
It is a little bit more profound this year.
I asked if you're just seeing it. The thing about it is that you all probably just look at track and field. But what I can tell you is that the previous basketball competition, not this one, last year's basketball competition, SAS was playing for third place. And guess who supported them in full against St. Mark's Secondary? Guess who supported them in full? The GBSS team.
And that's excellent. And that's excellent. No.
So I'm saying this camaraderie that we're talking about has been happening, for a while now. When you see, even in the girls' division, how they react to each other in competition and stuff like that, you can tell that the warring adults are in the stands, but the children are very much, they're friends.
Yeah.
No, I mean, and this is important. Now, I was just making the point that, as Livingston mentioned it, we saw it at the SAS Sports. I mean, and this is something that never happened before. I mean, you wouldn't see that in the individual sport. So I think it was worthy of mentioning. And then remember last year we had a little unfortunate thing with I think when the wreath was brought and it created some unpleasantness. So you're seeing a significant move away from that kind of thing, and that speaks very well for the sports.
You're such a hypocrite. You're such a hypocrite. We had a little bit of whatever. Adults, right, decided to get all up in their feelings and react to a child, right? Do things to a child on the field. And you refer to that as we had a little bit. And on top of that, you are subtly shifting the responsibility onto the reason why the adults behaved in that little way. It's because of what? To do with the wreath and the child? No.
Let me ask you a quick question. Let me ask you a quick question, Reece.
And what they did, that was adults being bullies to a child.
But let me ask you a quick question. Do you think that child who brought that wreath did that solely on his own accord?
What I can tell you is that the adult who did whatever they did, wasn't influenced by the child. They're supposed to know better.
I'm just asking you.
I'm not answering.
I guess you wouldn't answer. It just goes to show. But Doc, let me tell you what is happening here. It goes to show that what Reece is doing is trying to resurrect the old days when the athletes from SAS and the other country schools were treated in a manner like we were nobodies. You probably may not know that. You probably know that.
What you're accusing me of is exactly what you are trying to do. Because there was no need to bring up about a little thing that happened, but you chose to bring it up. And you chose to give it a slant.
But why not? But why not?
I let you talk. You chose to give it a slant where the adult was the victim, the child is responsible for the adult behavior. Don't do that. And what you're doing right now, talking about what used to happen in the past, about how the SAS athletes used to be treated, we don't want to go there. We don't want to go there. Why are you doing this? What is the intention behind that?
Let me just say something here. in track and field, I mean, there is stunting, people use all mannerism of ways to convey the school superiority, etc., because you want to flush the opposition. Of course, that is always it. Track and field is it emits a lot of passion. So it is not a very good thing for whether it's an athlete or an official to go in front of the congregation of a school. It is just in bad taste. When there is a competition like that, even in football, there's have all this riot and thing taking place in football, etc., because one side might tell something or so, but he start and he had deaths that took place. I'm just saying, while you chant and stuff, it is not a good practice, and we have to take responsibility to go in front of the audience of a competing school and display that. It's just not in good taste. Yeah.
You guys can analyze it however. My point is, what is your intention of bringing up something that an adult choose to do to a child because of some kind of what you refer to as taunting in sports? Yeah? An adult. It was not another child against a child. It was an adult. Yeah? And then bringing up this thing about how people used to be treated. I'm from Guelph. You want to tell me about how people used to be treated? We don't need to go there. To me, that right there is taunting.
Reece, I think it's time you get over the cutters that starts put on all you. I mean, seriously.
Listen.
You need to get over it. It happened.
Right now,
and
you are being sensational.
No. It cannot be undone.
I believe
it cannot be undone.
Price to the one who owns it.
The bottom line is GBS got a song
right in the girls,
licking.
And they owned it in the boys.
So then why are you so angry? Why are you so angry? What is your issue?
Sensational.
But what is your issue?
You are trying to stir up something.
I am not trying to stir up nothing.
Nobody's unhappy about SAS.
Reece, listen to me. Reece.
We are good. The price to the one who owns it. But don't do that. Nobody's angry about that.
Reece,
don't do that. I tell you now what all you intend to make tonight.
Hold on.
But you alone that talking. You alone that
talking.
Reece, you are from the time. Listen, from the time we started, before we even open, you started to bump your gum.
Yeah, but it was anger. I said this is going to be a Tivoli show, and it is going to be you guys making mouths. That was not anger. That was not anger.
So,
and if Doc is honest, he would say that.
But the point is...
You are trying to be sensational. You are trying to stop things that are not there.
I don't understand.
Nobody's angry. Who is angry?
You apparently...
SAS owned it. They owned it. What you talking about?
Oh,
whether it's imports of another parish, they owned it.
There we go.
They owned it.
There we go.
What you talking about?
So can I get a minute?
Don't come and pull that on me. That was a cheap one. I could take strong arguments.
Doc, let you go. Let you go.
Can I get a minute? Can I get a minute here? So I just wanted to say...
It's a Tivoli show we having tonight.
So I just wanted to say that it's unfortunate that you mentioned Tivoli, because I want to say something about Tivoli. But anyway, at the intercall, I just couldn't help but notice some athletes that was extremely outstanding, and not in any order of greatness or stardom. But I wanted to mention this young guy from GBSS. His name is, I think, is Michael Moses. I was, I've looked at. Lately I started enjoying the long distance, the 3,000, the 5,000, 1,500, and things of events. And to see this young man, I think, doing the 3,000 meters, and when he finished, he just folded his arm, he said, everybody calm. I mean, and this guy chest was not even heaving, he didn't even bend down. I thought, like, where does this guy come from? Who is this guy? So who is this guy?
He reminds me of Dr. Kirani. You notice every time Kirani runs, everybody fall along, but he's the only one that walking around and giving everybody a pat and everything on the back.
This guy was not even breathing heavy. And I thought, who is this guy? Because whatever time this guy made, he could have made a better time. That's for sure. And I also, people like Annalisa has been on the scene. Annalisa for a long time. And she kept up. But she was in one of those races, she was challenged by this Analogi. Anilogi. And I see a lot of prospect in Anilogi. Just the same, I feel she has this potential to really do a better 15 in the long run. So I just wanted to mention that. We mentioned Ian Judge, and something I also wanted to say about Ian Judge. He was in Grenville to join the celebration. So there's the next thing. Both Ian Judge and Annalisa Brown, I don't know who else came, but they came and joined us in the celebration. Godfrey, the timing, Mitchell from SAS to run the 221.5 coming out after last year. I thought that was some major improvement. So I just that I wanted to mention that you had outstanding athlete like Emma Frederick from McDonald College also. That to me she was like the real superstar for McDonald College. And I wanted to mention that. So there were some other outstanding athletes. For me, what really hurt me at Intercall is to see that this the PBC guy, the Boca, Giovanni Green. I mean, he started in the 400 meters. I wanted to see a race, a really good 400 meter runoff in that event, and unfortunately, he was unable to. So this Dishan, also Dishan Oliver, Christophe Callis, Kishon Elizander, there was this Harald guy also from Gambral. There were one or two really good athletes all over from all the various schools, and they showed up. So again, kudos. I became very optimistic that Grenada should come a close second to Jamaica. I'm very optimistic. I hope.
And the character, yeah.
I look at some of the boys and girls champ. The timing is crazy, but I'm hoping that Grenada would give them a run for the money.
Yeah. I mean, the truth is regarding the character team, and I think this is the largest team we've ever fielded for character games. And the truth is, I am not so, much concerned about how much medals, while, of course, I would love for us to get it. But I think, giving the athletes the opportunity to gain the experience at that level is very, very, very important. Very, very important. So I am really happy that they've filled such a large team, and I'm looking forward to seeing the athletes perform at the best of their ability. But for me at Intercall, what really pleased me was to see how much we've improved in the huddles. Even just as recent as last year, when you looked at the huddles, the technique was not that good. When you look at the guys this time around, significant improvement. And the next thing I would like to see us is making some move towards the pole vault. I know that might be tough, but we see your take on some of the performances.
I agree that we saw improvement in the huddles, and I believe that we would be seeing records breaking every time because it's fairly new. Mm-hmm. So just by virtue of that, people just keep improving. Records are going to break, right? So I'm celebrating the improvement and not necessarily the records right now, because we are growing in that sport. Yes, the Momo was like athlete of the day for us on I think it was the third day. That's Moses. As you say, it's like this guy in the interview. You hear what he said? Did you hear what he said? And it was almost like he wasn't even asked the question, but he needed to say it. He said, "Them boy, them afraid me." Y'all hear that? When he was talking to Sherian. And you look at him and he just looks so little and cute, right? And you just feel like, that's kind of like the baby on the GBSS team. He looks that way. And you're just so proud of him that even if he made these comments about, them buying them afraid him, you're kind of like, just want to just celebrate with him. It's like he wants to be in competition because he even spoke about, how, like he was talking about his teammates. They went and, they didn't do what they were supposed to do. And he just felt like he needed to come and add some points because those guys and them lose points. Y'all remember that?
No, but
I think I remember the interview. I think I remember.
Yes.
No, but if you listen to the guy, play his game plan. He said he would start fast.
Yeah.
And he mentioned they afraid him. He believed that somebody might afraid him. But he mentioned he would start fast. He would take it a little more moderate in the middle, and then he would end fast. The guy came there with his game plan, and that is what, coaching is about, psychology is about strategy. And that is what I thought. These guys are very, very, psychologically sound athlete. And I hope he go really, really far because he has it already. He's working with whoever is working with him. Develop a strategy, who has that strategy that he's working with, and he actually work at that level. I really hope. I don't know if he's on the Interpol team, but I cannot expect he not.
The Interpol? You mean the character?
Yeah.
Sorry, character team.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I remember.
Anything on the chat?
Yeah. Not much.
I don't find there's anything happening on the chat. I don't know if it's. I need to refresh, but to me, nothing is happening there. And then people were asking for the topic to be put up. It's not up.
I've asked the guys to put it up a while back now. I'm not sure why he hasn't. But Reece, you were talking about the interview with the young guy, and I remembered it. In fact, there were two interviews I remember. That one, and the one with, I think it was Oliver, when he was he disqualified, right? For the false start.
Yeah.
In an interview, he said. Something about they tried to thief me in the they tried to thief me. Yeah.
Tried to hold him down or something.
Something to that effect. So I remember that. But there was something else though that I noticed with the athletes. Their numbers. They had little writings, and there was one in particular. I don't remember. Was it that in the 4x4? I think when the guy won.
In the 4x4.
Yeah, he removed it, and there was this the thing.
End the gender violence?
Yeah. I thought that was really, really wonderful. Putting that message out there. That was really, really, really great.
Which
really,
reminds me, there is that video that was produced by a teacher of the GBSS who was a past PBC student, where they got the GBSS and the PBC boys to do a skit, like a piece, a video feature on ending gender-based violence. And it was very creative. And I remember when they first played it at the Intercall, they played it back to back, and the people were just like really captivated. People were clapping. You heard the moments. It was very, very, very touching how they produced that piece, showing the effects of alcoholism and how women experience abuse, and just seeing young men taking the mantle towards ending gender-based violence. I've said it on that very heated show that we had, that it has to start with the men. The men have to do things differently, and I'm seeing it playing out. It was very touching, and I'm just happy to know that we are cultivating young men to see things differently, to not see women as property, to see how is it that their bad choices cause them to make bad decisions, to hurt people in different ways. And it just needs to end, and that they have a pivotal role to play.
The actual running of the games, Doc, the management, or if you want to call it the production of the Intercall games, what was your take on that? How it all flowed?
Well, I think from the time they go through these, I always, go back, in my head. The 3 days is intense. It's very, very intense. And I stand by advocating that there should be a week, one event, maybe some preliminaries, a week before, and have it's 3 days still, but have 1 day only for hits, but have it a week before. The reason why I say that, I think it would do two things. Children competing, they're not getting enough rest in between events. Sometimes you might have like a 800. Well, the 1, the 2, the 4 sometimes is running the same day, but sometimes the 815, you have the preliminary and you run it the next day in some of those big events. But at Intercal, usually everything is being done at that same day. So that is one. There are a good number of events. But on the other hand, what you find happening now, the traveling. People don't seem to take into consideration the traveling, that some people going as far as St. Mark, going as far as St. Patrick, and of course, St. Andrew. And what make it really bad with St. Andrew is that the hills create a lot of motion sickness for a lot of people. So for me, I think it would have been a good thing to have do the intercall in such a way that 1 week you run off all the major preliminaries, all the hits, and then the other 2 days in the next week, you come and you have the finals. That to me would lessen on the stress on the body, the fact that you would sort of preserve the integrity of the athletes, knowing that they have Carifta a couple weeks coming up, etc. Because schools vying for points, they basically would utilize the athletes they have if they believe, particularly smaller schools. They would use the athletes and see how much points they can get, just to make a difference between having 48 or 46 points. So I believe in order to prevent that and to save our athletes, because in the long run, the most important person you have to be pleasing in an intercall are the athletes. So you have to do things to preserve them.
But Doc, let me ask. I understand where you going, but I the week before I don't know. I would rather look at the possibility of having qualifying times, so that you limit the amount of athletes having to perform on intercall day, because it's so this is how you have qualifying times for Carifta and so on, and some of the other regional and international meets have a qualifying time. To me, that would push athletes to work harder, and we would see improved performances.
Okay, so you have qualifying time, but then instead you have only the finals, you have the best.
No, you can have you see if you have qualifying times, right? One, even if you having heats or preliminary, it would be significantly less.
Yeah, but every school sends 2 athletes, and that's what they do at Intercall.
Right, but if you
you're having qualifying time ahead of time, you have to ensure that those times or distances or throws, that you have the best hits. So when you come, you have finals. Otherwise, you come back to the same thing. If you go to the school and you say, okay, the best, you have to make 10.4 to qualify for the 100. If you get 16, then you still have to have the preliminary. So either if you have a qualifying time or distances, then I believe you have to have a number. The best 8.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do what you have to do, or you can go with
the best 8. If you have the best 8, then that could work.
Or you could go with a semi-final. You could go with a semi-final at Intercall. So basically, some athletes, the best would run. But I don't see a problem with that. If you run a semi-final at Intercall, what you can do, you have a couple hours difference. I mean, it happens everywhere. So if you do the semi in the morning, I don't see any reason why. Yeah, but what is the problem with the? Okay, for example, if you do, let's say, a semi-final in the morning, what's the problem with the athletes doing the final in the afternoon or in the evening, for that matter?
But what I'm saying, it is intense. That is actually what is happening right now.
But intense how? I mean, I don't see the intensity.
An athlete is doing a semi-final, so it is 3 days, and there are a lot of events, right? So athletes are doing the semi-finals on that day, and they're doing the finals on the same day. So a lot of athletes at that level are involved in 3 and 4 different events. And you find that a lot of them are clashing. You know, some athletes just come out and do the 200, and they end up they have to go back and do the 400. Take, for example, one of the things that happened that I saw, and I believe it was done for convenience. When they were doing the hurdles, Godfrey, they did at least about 4 to 6 hurdles back to back. Now, that could have never been, in my mind, right. The reason why is because there are some athletes that just come out and do an event. So if you're doing 6 hurdles, it means that you're going across maybe 3 different divisions, sub-junior, junior, senior. Or even if you do 4. So an athlete that just come out and do, say, a 200, time to do the 100 or the 110 hurdles, they have to then come and do the 110 hurdles. The hurdles was done in such a way that it didn't give athletes a chance to breathe. So if you're doing the semi-finals on the same day, I believe it is really taxing. And the reason why I also mentioned a week ahead is also to lessen on the traveling time. Even if all the schools have the finances and they can camp in town, we don't have enough space. Housing, accommodation, except if you build tent and athletes sleeping in tent. You do have the accommodation in St. George's to accommodate all those schools from the countryside. So I also, not just about the stress on the body, I'm thinking in terms of the competition, I'm also thinking about the traveling. So the reason why I suggest that is also to decrease the traveling time. I mean, it
has to be looked at and managed.
It could be a combination of what you say and what I'm saying to make things work. Because if we could have just finals, well, and that could be better than them having a week ahead or a week before.
Well, I mean, they would have to manage. I mean, I don't. See, what's your take on that? Having these events like a week ahead and then. You mute.
Yeah. I am kind of here and there about that. I see how some athletes, especially at our intercall games, some athletes are burdened, for want of a better word, with having to do multiple events because they're talented like that, and sometimes because the school need them for the points. So you see athletes getting injured, being very tired, and we know how this happens because about 2 weeks after, it's the intercall, it's the character games that they have to go and attend. So in the past, we know of coaches that would have asked athletes to false start, asked them to not, as a school, to not have them participate in certain, because they were prospects for greatness, they were prospects for doing well. So you have that kind of control that happened, behind the scenes there. At the same time, the culture of the intercall games is one where it is super competitive. All the things that we're discussing now happens. So Grenada have to look at sports in a way that we have to strike a balance. Yes, we want the competitiveness. Yes, we want the exposure, the children to be able to partake. And if they have talent, they're decathletes, they're octathletes, to expose them. But at the same time, we have to be very circumspect. We have to look at the athletes for what they bring to the table, what their future prospects look like, and still try to protect them while not limiting them excessively. Because some of us, we would just be like, that's a 100-meter athlete and that's it, because he has prospects. But sometimes the child can run a 2. They can run a 2 at the level of intercall, So we still have to strike the balance. We have to allow the children to have fun, to make their records, to be able to talk about their prowess, their achievements, and at the same time know that we cannot be overexerting them to the point where they really end up not having a future past interval.
You see, I think the problem has sort of magnified with the increase of the amount of events. I mean, because Doc, if we go back, if in our time, we did the same thing, you know. The only difference was we didn't have so much events at intercall.
Right.
So, for example, in the sub-junior division, like in our time, there wasn't 400 meters for sub-juniors. There wasn't 800 meters for sub-juniors. There weren't 1500 meters for sub-juniors. There was no triple jump for juniors. So there were a lot of events that were not there. But over time, a lot of these events have been included, and they've been included across the categories. So you find, you know, that problem has come up. I mean, in our time, there were many of us who could have gone and win individual events, but we had athletes. You know, you were able to say, all right, Livingston, you're going to do 1 and 2. Eugene would do 4. Who would do what? Excuse me, and so on and so forth. It's different now, and it's because of the amount of events. And I think Scholar had made the point, was it the week before, that although they increased the days to help the situation, they went ahead and also increased the events. So the problem was not solved, you know. So I think we need to look at all of these things and see how best they can manage it.
Yeah.
I also think too that parents and schools have a major role to play. Yes, our attitude to sports, athletes training and all that has been improving. We hear of more clubs every year. There's an additional club being added. But I think too often I hear, especially, well, in every school, but you hear it a lot in the schools in what we call the country, and we hear it in the schools in the town. There are children who have ability, they have potential, and parents would not allow them to go into this or not encourage them, right? So that's that group of athletes that you would prefer to have, where there's a wide spread, that you can split up athletes to do different events. You don't have that. It's like there's a bunch of athletes that is dependent on to bring it home in track and the field and in multiple sprint events, you know? So I think as parents, we need to know that there should be a balance between sports and education. Children must be encouraged to pursue their academics, as well as they must play something. They must train in something. They must do something, whether it's basketball, football, netball, you know, and we know that some of these sports are then based on the children's ability. Like you'll find a lot of sprinters coming out of football or sprinters being involved in football. So we need to contribute. We need to contribute to our schools. We need not dependent. We need to have less spectators and more athletes, more participants in the event. So the school need to really look at the structure of their training, see the potential, start training earlier, start building the athletes mentally, physically, with the support of the parents and the clubs, because one can't do it alone. So, you know, that's my thinking here. That would help us to have a plethora of athletes to be involved and not just one set being burnt out while everybody else is jumping.
No, definitely. Doc, I can remember there was one time Cressy stopped me from playing football.
He stopped me.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I well dressed already though. I well dressed already to go on the field to play out my football boots, everything. The man send and tell me I can't play football for his school.
Yeah, I mean, and it probably may have something a little funny and jokey, but I think these are things that we need to probably pay attention to. You know, to get our athletes specialized and you know, so you have a range of athletes involved in different sporting areas. So it's
what we see was talking about not specialization, but
no, I understand. No, yeah, I'm just yeah. No, I
early age Godfrey. Who could I ask you, Godfrey Augustine, to specialize when you were a junior? You try everything. And I think that was rightfully so. You try everything until you reach a situation and then you realize you might like the four more than the one, or in your case, you had a greater affinity and talent for javelin, so you stick with that, So there you go. So at this early age, and that is what makes it so difficult with intercal, because there are some athletes that are just naturally talented. Most likely, almost any long jumper you meet would also be somebody that is good in the 1 and the 2, and in push come to shove, they would be able to do a good 4x4, right? And that's how it is. So you find athletes are always involved. Athletes are multi-talented, and then once you're good in one activity, you just do 3 and 4 and 5. Look at the same Dishan Oliver. This guy made over 36 or something points in his division, or 36. I think it's 36 in his division. That's a lot of points to be making in the call.
Oh yeah.
So he just showed and he did not compete in the 400 meter because he had a false start. So again, how do you balance that? You want to give the athlete a chance. They would not be the best in an intercall, definitely not, because they are in so much different events. But as much as possible, you try to create a situation so that they can excel and participate in all events they possibly can. And it's good for small schools too, the schools with less population, not small schools, less population, that the athletes can spread over a period of time and participate.
Yes, indeed. One thing I wanted to raise,
Okay,
though.
I would like to hear if somebody else, have an input on this.
We haven't had any calls, but I want to just go back a bit, and I think it's something we probably spoke of in the past. It has to do with the allocation of points. And I still have an issue with how the points are allocated, because I am one who believes that the winner should stand out. The winner should stand out. I don't agree that if
second and third
combined should earn more points than the winner. I have a problem there. Even if it's a 1 point different, I believe it should happen. I don't know what Reece feels about it, but I don't like it at all. It's something I would definitely like to see change. Reece,
well, my view is that I believe first and foremost that first should have more points, and first have more points. But there's a reason why you're allowed 2. And so too, if you place first and second or first and third, that is additional points for your school. So I really don't see why it's a problem that the school has worked hard enough to get 2 of their athletes, maybe not being the top, but being in the top 2. That when you add their points, it surpasses the top 1.
So let me give you the point breakdown.
I know the point breakdown. Breakdown. But I don't see a problem. To me, why is it a problem that a school who has 2 athletes, right, competing in the final should not be at risk of scoring more points by virtue of them having 2 qualified athletes that are great enough to be in the top 3? And it really doesn't matter to me whether it's the green team or the blue team. So if the blue team, and we've seen that, where the blue team might have first and second, or first and third, right? We've seen where the green team have had second and third, or second and fourth, right? At the end of the day, to me, there must be a reward for you as a school being able to produce 2 on the great lineup of the finals that earn you points. And if by virtue of, that's a twist to it, that even though you come first and you have 1 athlete in the race that come first and you get the top points, the school have to be mindful and listen, we're allowed 2 and we want our 2 in the finals, because our 2 in the finals means additional points for us. There must be merit to me in somebody, a school having 2 athletes and them performing exceptionally well, whereas you have one that performed top. There must be merit in that.
No, while I agree, but there's also another side to it. I think the way the points are now, and I think it's also disadvantaging the smaller schools. So schools like SAS and GBSS, they would always be at an advantage because they feel a lot more athletes, and so their chances are much better. Let's say as compared to a St. Mark or let's say a Montrose. Yeah, you know. So I understand where Reece coming from, but I also believe that even if the point about the first and third, the first and second would put you way ahead, yes, but the big thing here is the person. I mean, and especially if you have a case where that person winning establishes a new record. I don't know. I just feel that the first split, at least there should be a 1 point different from that separates the winner from everybody else. I mean, that's just my yeah.
So let me. So it's 6-4, 6-4, 4.
No. It's 7 for first.
Yeah, because I will explain that. 6-4, 2 and 1 for fourth. 6-4, 2 and 1. Everybody in the final get 1. So the person that comes first gets 6 plus 1. So that's how they work it out. So it comes to 7. So second and third get 5 and 3, which is 8. And the person that comes first gets 7. You see, when you go to international sports, you could get any amount of bronze and thing you want. Once I have my 1 goal at in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
So
and that doesn't change. That doesn't change. And in that case, it's a medal. It's a medal.
Yes, so I'm also saying the medal has different weight. That is why when you're ranking, gold is always more than bronze.
And I don't get that there isn't that exists. Gold has more ranking. But what I'm saying is that if you are allowed 2, we should not be focusing on I have the fastest man in the race. We should be focusing on I am going to have the fastest and the second fastest or the third fastest because I have the permission, the ability, I have the leeway to don't just get first place points. I have the opportunity, just like every other school, to produce to get a second place, a third place, or a fourth place. So let's not just concentrate on the first place. You get a first place, yes, you get a maximum points for the position. But if you have, like you that come first, you did not produce somebody to take up in the top 4. But here you have another school that didn't get top, but they have the opportunity to get 2 more positions of lesser value. You have to deal with them on the individual basis. 1 comes second and 1 comes third. If they were separate schools, you didn't have a problem. But the only reason why you have a problem is because they might be of the same school. And that would mean the school getting a second place point and a third place point. And when you add it up, they might be in front of the first place. To me, that is not an argument here. You have the opportunity to have first, second, just like anybody else have it. Work towards it. And don't just feel that because you come first, if the person come second and third, they shouldn't matter because you come first. No, there's a reason why they give you 2 opportunities to have medals.
But you see, if the thing with Reece, if everybody was operating on a level playing field, fine. But if it's not. I mean, you have the point is, so the SAS and the GBSS and maybe McDonald College and so, I mean, they have significantly more students, more athletes than the other schools. So
and I don't think that should be an argument here.
No, but why not? Because
no, it should not be because you see, you are being very specific. You are looking at particular schools, and that is
no, Reece, I am not.
Have the argument.
Anyway, go ahead.
No, that's why you have the argument because you're looking at specific schools and their talent and their population. But we see schools emerge all the time. There's Boca, right? There was Westerhall Secondary. There are different schools.
But
the price of the one who owns it.
Reece, you have to take into consideration something Godfrey says.
What's that?
So it's not about just SAS and GBSS, but you have to equate
And
them in
McDonald
the equation. The reason why, because they are larger schools. So SAS and GBSS are always at an advantage. You have an advantage. They can always, they have a greater possibility of fielding 2 athletes in an event. Unlike an emerging school like a PBC or a Boca or Hillsborough, the possibility of them fielding 2 events is more unlikely than a SAS or GBSS.
So let me ask you one question. Based on what you are explaining there, would you say that, we should put some rules on the bigger schools? Let us have the bigger schools only have 1 entrant. And you know what? The liquor PBC and the liquor whoever, let them have 2. That is, you cannot look at it that way. It's like you want to penalize a school for having a big population and feel sorry for another school. But you can have a small school having great talent, while a big school, what they produce in the year is nothing much. And case in point, SAS versus GBSS. Y'all don't say that. Y'all don't say SAS have girls and boys, so the population of boys is less than GBSS that have only boys, right? Here am I'm saying, look at SAS. SAS have less boys, right? But look, they have the talent within the less boys. So I do not see a school being penalized for it having a bigger population and looked at, compared to PBC. In that year, PBC may just have the talent. So that's why I look at it.
So I was saying
SAS must get 1st and 2nd, or 3rd and 4th, and whatever, so they get the maximum points they could get with the allowed 2 athletes, and so too for every other school.
So I was saying something earlier on, and the reason why I was saying that is because the goal would always be more than 3 bronze or silver combined. So in effect, what I'm saying, goal represent 1st, and so 1st, even if you had 2 bronze or a bronze and a silver, it should not pass gold, because that is how it is graded. That's how it is branded. So it's likewise, the point standing for 1st should always be more than any 2 other positions combined. So I stand and I believe that 1st, when you come 1st in a race, you should have that point, and if it is by 1 more point, 2nd and 3rd combined should not equal nor pass.
I'd like to say something.
I'd
like to say something. You're only having that opinion on the premise of the 2nd and 3rd being from the same school. Because if 1st is 6 points, let's say 6 points, and 3rd and 2nd is 4 and 2, right? 2 and 4. You don't have a problem if the 2nd is a different school from the 3rd. You have no issues with that, because putting together those points, 1 school is not benefiting. But guess what? The points that let's say the top school is not getting, right, is points that are going to 2 separate schools. So you don't have a problem with 4 and 2, right? 6 and you don't have a problem with 6 going to 4th. You don't have a problem with 4 and 2, which is 6, going to separate schools, because it means that 1 school is not getting the equal number of points that the other school, the top school, get. You don't have a problem with that. You only have a problem when it is the same school winning it. That's your problem. And that is unfair. That is unfair. The price to the one who owns it. If a school is good enough to produce a 2nd and 3rd, but not a 1st, and the points get added, that is a twist. That is what makes intercol exciting. But if the points go to a separate school, 2nd, and a separate school, 3rd, you as a top school don't have nothing to worry about. That's the twist. So in running, and you look to your side and you see, well, oh my God, GBSS, let's say, have 2 athletes in the race. There's a chance that I'm going to equate my points, right? Or I have 1 and 2. If I get 1st and 3rd, I'm good. That's a twist to intercol. That's what makes it exciting. And the problem is only when the same school wins 2nd and 3rd. If the same school does not win 2nd and 3rd, you don't have a problem. I ain't lying.
Anyway, we have, maybe we could take the few comments, because we almost out of time, and then we would wrap.
Well, I can tell you that it's just a few. I don't know if it's
Yeah, it's just
our site, like we're
just a
having an
few,
issue.
yeah.
But what I'm seeing, apart from everyone else saying good night, I'm seeing George Bennett said, and he made me laugh. He said, good night. I'm seeing the union now. I love to see that you all had a rough start. Betty Ann Court said, try to find out why the parents do not want their children to participate in sports. Good question. Ernesto said, I want to congratulate the athletes of McDonald College on their performances at the Intercall. Although they didn't have much athletes as the other top schools, but they gave a great account of themselves. I responded to let him know that his athletes were over at SAS. And that if they were going to McDonald College, they would have given an even better account of themselves. That you may have seen that who win this year may not have been the winner. And we can't argue that. Although argue that. That's a comment on Facebook. When it comes to YouTube, we had a number of blue hearts going up from Tavia. Alexis said he just reached. He said, I agree with Reece. All schools have their population. Is a system in place to harvest the talent. He said, yep, you're right, Reece. So that's all I'm seeing. I'm sure there were other comments, but I think we have an issue.
I am wondering, how many comments you saw from Ernesto? I'm seeing...
Just one.
No, so
there's a second one now.
Yeah.
He said, I know, but we have to address that. Where students attend school, where students from the parish should attend school in the parish. Fight on it, Ernesto. Fight your battle.
There's another one. He says, my concern is one athlete participating in more than 4 events. Mm-hmm. I've been looking at Jamaican athletes and I never seen one of the athletes participating in separate events. The athletes trained for one event, for example, to get an athlete running the 200 and 400 meter, which is not a problem. But in our sports, one athlete being worn out after participating in many events. I will take to wait. What is that? I would like you to look into that. We're destroying our athletes when we do things like that. Even the last intercall, child was beat after being forced to do several events. So that was another comment from Ernesto. Let me see if there is anything on the. Right. Someone said, good evening, guys. I always enjoy the program every time, but tonight it's kind of heated for some reason. All right, yeah. Well, that's what happens when people are not happy when they get beat. But anyway, we're out of time. So closing remarks. Doc?
So let me close by saying something that I was not supported on for some time. One, I believe that all students throughout the trial and state that is of age to participate in intercall, and within school that are in school, able to participate in intercall. So all those children in TAMCC that within age should be able. I think it would be such a nice thing to see TAMCC coming up with a team. They have a junior, they have a senior team. They wouldn't have sub juniors, and I think that is fair game. Intercall would be a lot more interesting. So I wish in the future that would happen, that TAMCC students would be able to participate in intercall. Apart from that, kudos to the organizers, the announcers. I thought that I look at the footage from what the TR, whatsoever the name of the team. I thought they did a fairly good job in bringing intercall. I love the energy and what I saw in intercall this year. And of course, what was Reece saying? Those that own to the prize, or those that own the prize, whatever.
Prize to those who own it.
Know it. You know it. The prize to the one who owns it. Don't play, you don't know it. You well know it. So that's one thing. There was we had a gathering with some drummers, and some of them was from of course a good number of them was from Tongue, and we were just playing. And at the end of it,
a guy, we basically finish our regular thing, and a guy just pitch up a song, and Sasso, and all those guys and them that was in GBSS and PBT pick up the drums and they put
And they
them
go?
in the bag.
Well, typical.
That was a real nice kind of kicksy moment, and everybody just started laughing, That was fun.
Yeah.
So anyway, guys, that was the next one.
Yeah. Reece, your closing.
I'm just gonna go on your case. On your week. you and Doc, two weak men, always trying to come and beat up on me, right? Always trying to come and beat up with me on me and some kind of thing. And always be so sensational, eh? You, Mr. Leader Free, tonight you are super sensational, talking about that angry. Angry about what? I believe in the prize to the one who owns it. And SAS owned it. Right?
Wow.
We are going back to the no.
I
don't know where he came out with this anger thing. No, it's true. He wants an argument from me. He wants an argument from me. He wants to tickle me. Right? As to whether SAS is holding on to it next year, that is left to be seen. And I highly doubt. Because y'all, if y'all are honest, as honest as I am about this whole thing, you all would agree that on Intercall Day, you do see the fighting spirit of GBSS, even if they are way down. You see it. You see that the guys go, oh, that's just a culture of GBSS. It's like, guys, we need this. We have to get this. The price to the one who owns it, right? No pain, no gain. And they go, even if they're injured, they go and they fight to get the points. Right? So that I know about the GBSS, they're gutsy, right? They may not have the best group of talented guys at this time or at a particular time, but they always want to give you, SAS, a fight for your money. No, because y'all are not humble, y'all would sit there with your bleeding blue hats and act like what I'm saying is not true. But you know it's true. And when you get off the television, you're going to say, yeah, Reece said it, but you won't say it publicly, right? That's the difference between Tivolians and Guaverians. We are humble enough to admit two things. So the prize to the one who owns it. Congratulations to SAS on winning in the girls division and winning in the boys division. I am not going to go down that road about first time ever, whatever, because you're only competing with a number of schools. Westall Secondary, St. David's Catholic Secondary, St. Mark's, Shaper, those are the schools. But the one that you really want to compete with, the one that, even though they're for third place, is the one you're looking at, which is the GBSS. And for high school, even if they're fourth place, is the one you're looking at. These two schools have won Intercall multiple times together, right? And I rest my case here. Leader Free, you don't have permission to say nothing. We're over time by 7 minutes. Just say good night and go home. Go home to the parish that you left, that you are residing in, because you left the place that you just try to defend.
You done? You done?
I mean, and you done too. You
Anyway, folks.
Say good night.
That's all the time that we have on the program this evening. I just want to say to Reece, I do agree with her that GBSS always put on their fighting spirit, but unfortunately, they fought in vain this year. Have a good night. All the best.
Wasn't true the last time, as you found out, but we are speaking, and it's going fairly well, and so I gave them 10 days.
But the regime denies that it's negotiating with the US, and 4 weeks into the war, it retains an iron grip on Iran, despite Israel's campaign of assassinations, as Hydra-like, every senior figure killed is replaced by another hardliner. With Iran blockading the vital oil route, the Strait of Hormuz, oil prices have soared and stock markets have tumbled, increasing the pressure on Mr. Trump. Meanwhile, thousands of additional US troops are being deployed to the Middle East amid speculation that they could be used in a future ground operation in Iran. Our diplomatic correspondent, James Landale, gave us his take on President Trump's latest ultimatum to Iran.
We should take this with a pinch of salt. Donald Trump's relationship with deadlines is, how can I put it, slightly fluid. The first thing it does, though, is it really buys him time. It buys him time for diplomacy, if that's what he wants to do. We do know that messages are being exchanged between both the US and Iran here through intermediaries. There's talk of a possible meeting in Pakistan at some stage. Yes, diplomatic expectations are very low, but Donald Trump insists he can call them talks, and they are going very well. But also remember, this potentially buys him time to assemble more military force. There is an amphibious group of US Marines on its way from Japan. There is a group of thousands of American paratroopers on their way from California. They will take a bit of time to come. But remember, this deadline only refers to US attacks on Iranian energy targets. So in other words, I think the likelihood is that we're just going to see a continuation of this war of attrition, continuing US and Israeli attacks. Remember, they killed a very senior Iranian naval commander overnight, the man who's in charge of restricting traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. And I think that's the key point. If this does go on for another 10 days, that means another 10 days of no traffic, largely no traffic.